paragraph, well, you put a paragraph in a B tag. If you have a header, you put it in your H1 tag or H2 or H3 tag. Do you see what I mean? Those are semantic elements. If I put something in a fonts tag, what are the semantics of that? It's kind of a look and feel issue, isn't it? And if I say that I want to make something big or centered or bold or italic or any of those kinds of things, none of those represent the semantics of the elements. Those are trying to deal with look and feel issues. So they have no place in HTML. And let me give you one more metaphor to think about. Are you familiar with the MVC pattern? What does MVC stand for? So, Model View Controller, you are absolutely right. Model View Controller, and what that means is we have a clean separation of concerns. The model does one and only one thing, the controller does one and only one thing, and the view does one and only one thing. The model is meant to be pure data. The view is supposed to concern look and feel issues. So doing server-side Java development, we often say our Java pojos, our Java beans are the model, and our JSP pages are the view. We take our model, and our model doesn't have anything to do with what font or what color it's going to be, or whether it's tabular or in a form or anything like that. Our model is pure data, and our JSP is pure view. So if I can take that analogy and bend it and break it, this isn't a good analogy, it's meant to be a rough analogy. But your HTML should be your model. Your HTML should be nothing but semantic elements that describe how your page is laid out. Your CSS should be your view. Your CSS should be the one that deals with fonts and colors and drop shadows and rounded corners and view. And all of these view-related elements have been deprecated because they aren't an appropriate use of a model. Does that help? Does that make sense? Yes, I told you you're smart. I have run a number of user groups in the Denver area. I ran the Denver Java user group for several years. I moved north and ran the Boulder Java user group. These are both cities in Colorado. And those are well established, and they're great groups, and they're still in existence, and I still come back to them as speakers. But last year I created the HTML5 Denver user group with another good friend of mine in the Denver area, David Geary. He's an author. He's just finished a book, HTML5 Canvas, and it's going to be an outstanding book. And so I am a big believer in the user group community. It just drives me crazy when you have wonderful presentations that are free. You get a dinner, you get presentation, you get knowledge and networking and jokes and all kinds of things like that. It drives me crazy that we don't have 10,000 people going to these user groups, but they're a wonderful resource. Idea why no one would join a user group. Some people are truly 9-to-5 programmers, and you know what? That's okay. One of my best friends say, I write code. I program only enough to feed my mountain climbing habit and my mountain biking habit, my rock climbing habit, and things like that. And there do need to be people in the world that do those kinds of things. But the people who want to get better at their craft, not just cash a paycheck at the end of the week, but they want to get better, and they want to learn new techniques and new concepts and new libraries, and they want to hear not only professionals speak, professional authors speak on these technologies, but the people in their community speak about these things. When I run my user groups, I make sure I not only have professionals speak, but I make sure we always get people from the community speaking. If you learn how to do communication skills, if you learn how to speak intelligently about a topic, it'll help you get promoted in your job. And there are some things that you learn and you know like this, but when you're forced to explain like that, you learn it much more deeply. So there are so many benefits to being a member of the user group. I think it's equally valid for students as well as for business professionals. It's typically one night out of your month. It's typically 2, maybe 3 hours tops out of the hundreds of hours in a month. I understand if you live a busy life. I'm married, I have kids, I miss them, but I do manage to carve out one night a month to attend a user group to better my skills and make me a better software crafter. This is my third time coming to India. GIDS has brought me to India 3 years running the Great India Developer Summit, and so that's gotten me to Bangalore 3 times. But each time I come here to visit, I travel with my good friend Dr. Venkat Subramaniam. He's native of Chennai, so he makes sure I get to Chennai every time I'm here. I speak at the Chennai Java Users Group, and I drink lots and lots of Madras coffee. You couldn't keep me out of Chennai every time I come to visit. Thank you. You're out of luck. Yeah. Historically, and this is a very good question, by the way. I don't want you to think for a moment that by my flippant answer it wasn't. Okay. I didn't give your question nearly the respect it deserved. It's a very good question. And historically, 1995, 1996, many people turned off JavaScript because it was a perceived security threat, a number of things like that. In studies in the wild, people have determined that a vanishingly small number of people actually turn off their JavaScript. It is low single-digit percentages. Because if you turn off JavaScript, you're turning off the web. You can't use Flickr, you can't use Netflix, you can't use YouTube, you can't use Google Maps, you can't use any of these modern websites. So in fact, people have gotten used to it and they're like, yeah, it's not really a security concern. So there are low single-digit percentages of people who don't have that, and there are a low number of people who don't have Java installed in their system. And so if you want to run my Swing app, you have to install Java, and if you want to visit my modern website, you have to have JavaScript. Is that fair?